You're listening to The Real Fan Review with Hav, Sanj, Al, and B.
What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going over some MCU news. We got the good, the bad, the ugly challenge. And we got some movie reviews for you today. With me today, we got my boy Sanj.
Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
We got our man in the chair, Al, today.
How's it going, everybody?
We got my cousin Ree.
How's it going, everyone?
And maybe Brother B will be coming in sometime soon, but if not, we got 4.
How's it going? How's it going? It sucks.
Still sucks.
and we can't even buy tickets.
Yeah, man, can't even buy tickets, man. Which is a perfect little segue to the one of my first things here with the movie news that we got going on, man. Looks like Cinemark is saying, it looks like Cinemark and AMC actually is saying that they're planning for like a July 1st opening date, try to get things moving with some like high profile, movies, possibly Avengers, maybe a couple different one of those, and maybe some other big blockbusters like I was saying before, maybe Avatar. They're hoping to start things up with those 2 weeks, and then by the third week, Tenet is supposed to be coming out from Christopher Nolan there, and they're just hoping that all this stuff works out. But I mean, the way that things are going, who knows, man? I mean, I personally don't see it happening just yet, but I don't know. What about you guys? I know Sanj, you're in the mix of it, brother. What are you thinking, man?
I'm thinking that's a good date, from what I'm seeing right now. Looks like we're on the back end, or at least through the middle of it. We're seeing positive signs right now.
Yeah,
so I think July 1st is a good date, and I'd be, if things continue like how I'm seeing right now, I think I would be comfortable going on July 1st.
All right, and how about you, Raymond? I mean, wishful thinking on AMC and Cinemark's part, or you think that's like a reasonable expectation, or you're not going to movies in July?
I think it's optimistic. I think it's very optimistic. It's possible, but you can't have a full theater. You have to have a lot of restrictions. You probably can't have the same operating hours. Even stuff like concession stands are going to be difficult to operate. So I don't see it. I can't imagine.
What difficulty would you see at the concession stand?
Well, you have to manage the amount of people that are there, how often they can visit, when they visit. I mean, you're still managing infections here, so we have the whole process that we've been doing, the numbers that have been coming down, even the recoveries. This is all just because we've been managing infections, not anything else. So if you let people talk and be around each other, the number of infections is going to increase again. No. And the whole thing we're doing is just trying to not overwhelm the health system, and then just having people commune together is going to cause the numbers to go up, which will then in turn overwhelm the health system, which then in turn leads to people dying for not being able to get, being able to be treated.
Well,
so, I can't imagine seeing that, like imagining something opening like the way it used to July 1st. I can see them opening, but I would imagine I would shut down the concession stands,
right?
Or offering like delivery to your tape, contactless delivery to your seat.
Or you talk about that AMC Prime, huh?
Yeah, the AMC Prime, but they would have to do it everywhere, right? And make sure like you have like contactless delivery to your seat. People sitting 3 or 4 seats apart. You got to take out seats or like to help manage people, like, and then. How do you do that when you have a couple coming in? Like, tell them not to sit next to each other, or I'm in a group, or I'm not in a group. Like, it's going to be super difficult. I don't know. To me, it's optimistic. That's my opinion.
I hear you, man. Al, what about you, brother? Man, what you thinking, man? Optimistic or hopeful?
Yeah. No, I agree with Ree. I think it's a little optimistic. If you're going to put a movie that you were hoping to get a good crowd to, but if you're going to be putting, like you said, like Avatar. Probably everybody in the world has already seen Avatar, but to have it in a movie theater experience, some people might come back out. So at least you're getting ticket sales from that. And it injects money back into their payroll and several, to keep some of these movie theaters afloat. But I can see them doing a limited concession, like the things that are pre-bagged, pre-stored, like the nachos. You buy a bag, the nachos, they're giving you the nachos in a bag and the cheese is sealed. So, they can do stuff like that. But the popcorn that usually tends to sit there open, people are breathing on it and so forth. I don't know if they'll sell that kind of stuff at the concession. But like the candies and the pre-packaged foods, I can see them selling. And going back to what they were doing in the beginning, which is, all right, we can seat 500 people. We're only going to sell 200 tickets. And they're going to control, and since a majority of the theaters now are reserved seating, they can control where they're saying those seats are available, so they can spread the people out. So if they do it like that in the beginning, I can see it working. But to release Tenet, which to me, I was hoping it does well because it looks like a great movie. To put it under under like a limited situation like that, I think would hurt it and make it seem like it wasn't as good of a movie release as it could have been if they maybe just a little longer, like some of these other big draws are doing.
Bring back the drive-thru. Bring back the drive-thru. That's it. Just put up a huge screen, let people stay in their cars, and deliver food to their cars. It's probably the safest way anyone can do it. You already trust the people in your car. If you want to pack people up that you're comfortable with 5 deep in a car, whatever, and then bring back the drive-thru. I think that's the smartest way for any of these theaters to do it. And it'll get people out of the house.
Yeah. I actually looked it up, man. The only closest drive-thru is out in Pennsylvania right now. I know some other states have like probably other options out there, but for us, man, there's nothing in New York. There used to be one up in Suffolk County, but now it's all the way. I think only one close enough is like in upstate New York or Pennsylvania, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember the one they had over in
All
Westbury.
we need is a projector and a screen and an empty lot. All we need.
A projector and a screen, like Bluetooth headphones or some type of headphones so you can connect and listen.
Mm-hmm.
The experience is going to be a little bit different than obviously you're used to, but I mean that's it. And who's to stop them from commissioning all these lots that are closed? Like the mall's closed. You can run 3, 4, 5 movies in the malls, right? Like
that would be awesome.
Field and in these Target parking lots when they're closing early, have late night films, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays. Because everything's closing at 8 or 9 o'clock. BJ's, all those things. Like just I would commission the movie theaters so that they make some money. And some local restaurants, hook up with some local restaurants for food delivery to the cars. And I think you have some opportunities for people who are out there, entrepreneurs, and like really thinking outside the box. I think there's opportunity. I think that's something that we can do tomorrow.
Sounds like an opportunity for us. Forget theaters.
There's things that we could do literally probably tomorrow, like in a week or 2 weeks. Like set something up. You need 2 big poles and a big white thing and a fairly clear day. So you got the weather, you got 2 big poles, you got a white sheet and a projector. Like there's nothing stopping us from watching movies. We can do it.
That sounds great, man.
But movie theaters, going to a movie theater, July 1st, I don't know.
It's definitely gonna be a hard choice, man. If they put Tenet out there, I'll be there. I'm seeing Tenet. Yeah.
Until someone calls
you and me both.
With mask on, everything.
At the hospitals, don't they have those plastic masks that they give you guys at the hospitals? Bring one of those.
I got the shield at the work.
The shield, we got the N95. Man, they gave us.
Wait. Did you guys see the TV that with the shields? They're putting like a picture of like somebody else in front of the face mask with the eyes cut out, so that George Clooney or McDreamy. Crazy, man. But listen, back into the other movie news for the week, man. We got a lot of MCU news this week, which is great because the fans love hearing about the MCU. We got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 director James Gunn. He was out there talking about, I guess every week now he's like putting out little things on Twitter or Instagram and just like kind of responding back to the fans. And he was saying that this Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 that they're working on is going to be about Rocket and his story. They said they threw hints of it in Part 1, little something in Part 2. Part 3 is all about what happened to Rocket, where did he get the scars, where he came from. And just wanted to know, man, I mean, are you looking forward to a story about Rocket, or did you just want to be about the whole team? I mean, of course, the whole team's going to be there. I think Al said there were some rumors about the story as well. But, I'm looking forward to knowing what happened with Rocket, man, where you get those scars from.
I would, that sounds really cool to me. I would like to see all their backstories, right? Like, because You got a little bit of Gamora's with the whole Thanos thing, but like you don't really see a lot of it. You just meet her as a little girl, and you
Right.
hear about it. And then you got Drax, whose family was killed, right, by
But Thanos.
Thanos,
Thanos.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanos' crew. I mean, they all have like super interest. And then I think Rocket, if I remember correctly, he was like a an experiment by some like higher beings, so more powerful beings, like some type of like experiment. I think it was a particular character, but I can't remember the comic book origin right now. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean they have really really good backstories. Um, I just think it's difficult to do them all in a movie, and then like if they start doing this, do you expect one for every movie, and then like is every Guardians
No,
of the
I
Galaxy
don't.
going to be something like this?
No, because we kind of understand what the other characters' backstories are. You
Mhm.
don't need too much more of Drax. You know, the
How about
character
Groot?
does.
Groot's like a
Yeah,
great.
like that's what I was about to say. Like the only other character like we don't really know that much about is Groot. So like
Right. Right.
you could tie their backstories in because remember they're always chilling together anyway.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so they maybe Groot's an experiment too. Maybe they came from the same lab. Who knows? Like I don't. You know.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, one way or another, it's going to be a crazy story. It's going to be something good, and hopefully, I can't even imagine who the villain's going to be or what's going to happen because they kind of tend to do the most weird stuff in the Guardians movies. Like they get out of
Yeah.
their concepts with the aliens that we see, the planets that they go to. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited, man, for sure. I can't wait.
Yeah, man. And then on other news with the Guardians, go right into the Asgardians. We go to Thor, Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi said that I think he was asked on Twitter, what's going on with Thor? Is it going to still be Bro Thor, or is it going to be back to the fifth Thor? And he kind of alluded to saying something like, that's been done already, kind of thing. So I mean, I know we both, all four of us, five of us, if Brandon jumps on, we loved the Bro Thor. That thing was kind of crazy to see him just like give up on everything, But at the same time, we knew it was a part of his depression and the way that he handled the losses. That's
Yeah.
what made him get to just get so big and be Bro Thor. But I don't know, man. For me personally, I kind of miss Fit Thor too, man, because that was if anybody was Thor, it was Chris Hemsworth. That's Thor.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys gonna miss Fit Thor, or I mean, miss Bro Thor?
No, I'm not gonna miss Bro Thor because it was cool. It was cool to see it, and then now it's like a new chapter for Thor. Like because at any time we've seen him before, it's like he was on the rise and about to take over for um, for his dad as the king of Asgard, and then and then with his dad, I guess I don't know, did he die or evaporate or just
Yeah.
reach
No,
equilibrium or whatever? Then he was supposed to take over. Then he took over for a while, and now he's always been in that track where he had this his future planned out for him, like what he was supposed to do, and now he's free of it, and he can just be Thor. He can just be himself, and now he can kind of figure that out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that Thor's character without all the responsibility and all of the expectation of Thor.
I hear
yeah.
you, man. And Al, man, what's up with you, man? You ready to see this montage of Thor working out in the beginning of Thor 4?
See, that's what I
An
was gonna say.
80s
That's
montage.
like Rocky, like at the boxing bag and everything. Actually, I'm kind of glad that's why they're not gonna do Bro Thor, only because I think that would have taken away from whatever story. Because it sounds like there's a lot that they're gonna have to go
Oh,
touch
geez,
on
yeah.
between him, Natalie Portman's character, how she takes over, and why does she take over the Thor mantle. So to then also go over his transition from Bro Thor back to regular Thor, I think would have taken away from any development of the other parts of the story. So I'm glad that they're going to make it seem, I guess, that this is a little bit time later. He's recovered. He's back in shape and everything, and we're just dealing with whatever the context of the story is.
Yeah,
Like
man.
just
How
put
about you,
it
Rick?
story.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brother was cool to see. I thought it was a good like comic relief also for the movie. And Marvel has a good way of adding that in. I hope that there's an element of comedy into this Thor movie, which obviously you can't depend on Bro Thor for if they said they're gonna get rid of him.
Uh-huh.
But the classic Thor character is what everybody remembers, and yeah, like the whole building up to to Thor in Endgame would kind of be defeated if they brought Bro Thor back. So I'm okay with him being gone. But I will miss the Bro Thor comedy, and I hope to see some element of comedic activity from Thor in this new movie. Like, I mean, revisit it for a little bit or touch on some of the Bro Thor stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, man.
Yeah.
I think with Taika Waititi still directing, it's going to definitely have that Thor Ragnarok feel to it. I know one of the best scenes in there for Sanj is when Hulk tried to Hulk out.
Let me show you who I really am. Thud.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yo, my son, oh my god, he like was dying laughing for weeks. For weeks. He'd be like, Dad, Thud. And I know exactly what he's talking about.
Oh my goodness, man. So we'll get to the next Marvel little news there. I think Marvel just took over. I think they wanted it. I think they heard people needed news, so they were like, you know what, let's hit them. Let's get them. So Sam Raimi was talking on some either most likely Instagram or Twitter thing also, and he was stating that he's looking forward to directing Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness there. And you know, if you guys know Sam Raimi, he's from the original Spider-Man trilogy with what's this guy's name?
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire. He also did the Evil Dead movies, Drag Me to Hell. So he's known for his horror, but also known for his comic book stuff. So they kind of said that the Multiverse of Madness was supposed to kind of be some kind of like, you know, nightmarish villain maybe, or the villain nightmare maybe. It's supposed to be more towards the gothic horror aspect of it. So I mean, I don't know. Sam Raimi, I haven't really seen anything recently that he's done, but you guys looking forward to anything like that?
Well, the horror aspect of it, yeah, I like that. I think that's what the MCU has touched on almost everything at this point except horror. So the only thing that I thought would never allow it was the fact that Disney owns them. So I couldn't. But Disney's incorporated some form of horror or fear into other aspects, even some of their animated movies.
Right.
So might as well bring it into the reality of the Marvel universe, and I think Doctor Strange is a good character to do that with. So it'll be interesting to see how they bring that into the universe and how they use it to build on everybody's story, because you're bringing in Scarlet Witch is going to be in the movie, or at least WandaVision is supposed to lead up to the events of Doctor Strange 2. So it'll be interesting to see how her series or whatever those events are cause these events. So it'll be good because they do a great job of bringing everything together. So I'm definitely just excited about waiting to see what they do.
Yeah, and man, if you remember Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 with Dr. Octopus, when he was on the lab table and those tentacles went up and started killing everyone in the room, all the doctors, that kind of horror aspect, it was kind of cheesy but funny, and I guess good enough for horror in a comic book movie.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to say. My criticism would be that I think the Spider-Man movies, the first trilogy, was a little campy, and I think probably it was a real first big foray back into like comic book movies outside of the X-Men movies, which were a bit more serious. And Spider-Man was a more youthful comic. Like he was a younger character, so I kind of understand his take on the campy. But hopefully, the experience with the current Marvel universe, it's been a bit more serious, a bit more adult, and his background with his terror will give him a lot more like free reign to do something. I think he's capable of doing something way more serious, more adult, and not so campy. And I think the development of the Marvel universe over this time period since the trilogy, hopefully will provide some inspiration to see some stuff that's like, serious.
Gotcha,
just because this comic book doesn't mean this has to be campy. And I think they had been historically previous to like our current universe, really campy movies, and the Supermans from back in the day and all those movies were like super campy movies. So like, I'm with it. So I'm with seeing it. So if he's gonna bring that type of stuff, I'm definitely interested in seeing what he has to give.
All right, and Saj, man, I mean, Sam Raimi, some people consider that Spider-Man 2 one of the greatest comic book movies, along with X-Men 2, and also, the you know, the MCU movies. But as far as outside of the MCU, Spider-Man 2, the Batmans, it's in the top 5 up there. So I mean, are you excited for something like Sam Raimi?
Yeah, like anytime you get to take the stories that we've seen or further a story that we've seen but with a little different look, I'm all for it. I'm all for experimenting and giving a different look because that's how they're gonna keep it fresh. Because there has been a lot of Marvel movies and especially in the MCU, so they're gonna have to do things to keep it fresh. Everything's gonna have to have a little different feel, a little bit different flavor, and they're gonna have to start throwing us some different looks too to keep us there.
Gotcha, man. Absolutely, man. And then the last one for you guys, man. No more MCU after this.
Why not?
I know, right? Hell Disney. I always forget Hell Disney.
Hell Disney.
But in the last bit of Marvel news for the news section here is that Mark Ruffalo was being interviewed for, I forgot what magazine it was. And he was basically saying, like, right now, there's just no plans for his Hulk in the MCU. He's had meetings, he's had little conversations here and there, but nothing signed off on, nothing fine print. So there's no place for the Hulk right now. So I'm thinking maybe either he's being honest or being just upfront with everything. But at the same time, I mean, I can't really see where he'd fit in with some of these movies that are coming out with the Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor. We have Doctor Strange, maybe. But I know the She-Hulk series is coming on Disney Plus sometime soon. So Sanj, man, what do you think about Mark Ruffalo stating that he's not really in contracts for anything? He's not really scheduled for anything. Where would you want to see him in, or are you just good, like wait for an Avengers movie, and then we'll see you later?
Right. I'm more like let's keep Hulk as a secret weapon. Let's keep him on the back burner, keep him there, and like let's miss him a little bit because those him, Captain America, Tony Stark, Iron Man, those characters featured so heavily in so much of the Marvel that we've seen so far. It would be great to have those characters put aside for a little bit and introduce some new characters and go further into their stories, or further into the stories of some of the characters that were on the periphery. And then, and Hulk is so beloved anyway, so it's like when they bring him back, like just make it a surprise and just have him show up, and like it'll just be one of those moments, that we'll remember. Yeah, so that's what I'm okay with that. I'm looking like that's
Might I say, knowing Mark Ruffalo's past with him blowing stuff, maybe Disney's just not telling him. Maybe he is in the next movie and he'll know the day he has to show up to the set. Like, it's like, hey Mark, so we need you for 4 days in March and 6 days in April.
So we need you at a conference, not a movie. It's just
wait. He ruined Avengers and Infinity War for like in the interviews beforehand, but no one knew he was real. He was being honest.
Yeah.
What did he say again? Like
he goes, they all die. He goes, everyone dies.
And Don Cheadle's like, come on, man.
So who's to know what Disney is willing to tell him and put in writing to Mark Ruffalo's camp at this point?
Him and Tom Holland, man. Nothing.
We're not telling you till day of. Sign the contract and get on set right now.
I want, what I really want? I want Don Cheadle to show up in like a T-shirt that has Terrence Howard's face on it. That's what I want.
Give me a suit, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. What's going on with the contract, man?
Hey, Tony, what up with these blasters, man? How are you the blasters, man?
Oh, God, man. Al, man. Where you fitting Hulk in their schedule here with the MCU, man? Phase 5.
Actually, you know what? Especially with She-Hulk coming out, I think they gave themselves a story with Hulk. I mean, given that his arm was damaged and everything after doing the glove, they could have done a whole story of Hulk like recuperating.
Hulk rehab?
And a Hulk needing help. Because Hulk was always like the monster that they brought in, the one that they were always scared of. And like you remember in the first Avengers movie, he was the weapon that Loki snuck onto the plane to destroy everything. So to show a Hulk that's damaged and needing to recover, that could have been a good storyline. That could have been how they brought in She-Hulk. Like maybe he was trying experiments to recover the arm, and in those experiments, that's maybe how he gives his cousin or whoever. I think she's related to him. I think somehow.
Did they cast the She-Hulk already?
Not
I keep
yet,
hearing.
man.
I keep hearing the girl from Shameless. I keep hearing her name in rumors for whatever reason.
Really?
Her and what's her name? Robin Thicke's ex-wife. Why am I dropping her name?
Oh, Paula Patton.
Paula Patton. Those are the two names.
Wow, Paula Patton would be crazy.
Those are the two names I've heard.
Right.
I'm waiting for a Wolverine Hulk movie, do the X-Men crossover, and then bring Hulk back for something crazy like that. Like that'd be amazing. Sick. Do a little like old it picks up after the whole Weapon X project and gives you a little background on the Hulk, and then they just meet and F each other up for 2 hours. I think that'd be awesome for me.
That'd be crazy, man. Yeah, man. And then the last bit of news, man, we're done with the MCU, but we're keeping it in the family. Disney Plus.
If you want to see our movies,
Hail
pay
Disney.
this monthly fee.
Yeah, man. So listen, Artemis Fowl was supposed to be this movie that comes out for the movie theaters. They're taking it off the movie schedule and they're putting it on June 12th, Disney Plus. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw previews for this. I'm not sure if it's like a kid's movie like Harry Potter kind of thing. It looks like more science techy, more space-based, definitely sci-fi. So, but you guys are interested in seeing that on June 12th there on the Disney Plus?
I'm very interested in seeing it because Artemis Fowl, I haven't read the books, but my one of our biggest fans, my little sister, is very, very. That was one of the series of books that she was very, very into. So he's kind of he's kind of like a detective, but he's not necessarily a good guy all the time. And like there's time travel involved. So she was really
get out of here.
And she's been trying to get me to actually read the books for a while. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I know she's very excited for it.
Okay.
So now, like, she'll definitely be like knocking down the door to get my Disney Plus password and stuff.
They're just trying to get subscribers after subscribers. They're just chasing subscribers right now.
No, but I'm actually very excited to see it. So I do have some time between now and then to at least start reading so that I'm not behind. And
gotcha, man.
Maybe.
Man, you heard anything about this Artemis Fowl, man? I've never heard of it, but I heard it's a good book, man.
Yeah, no, I never heard of it. I saw it like when I looked at the upcoming movies for the year, and that was before all of this happened. I saw the name, and I like looked it up, and it had a good premise, and like there was good talks of the movie.
Right.
But as things were coming closer, I wasn't hearing much hype about it. Like you were already hearing previews and stuff, and people talking about other movies. But movies that like this was coming out supposedly around the time of like Black Widow and all that.
Right.
And you weren't hearing previews. You weren't hearing the hype around this movie. So, I mean, I understand why they're putting it on Disney Plus, and in a way I'm glad they have an avenue like Disney Plus for movies like this, as opposed to them just getting shelved and saying, all right, we'll figure out when we're going to bring it back because, you know, not many people were looking forward to this movie anyway. So just put it on the shelves and maybe we'll bring it in a year or two. At least it still gets the movie out there and in a way that hopefully they pick up some subscribers and it's not a total loss for everybody.
Yeah, man. And Reed, man, how about yourself, man? Did you read this book or do you know about this series?
No, I'm completely foreign to the series. And for some reason, when you see the name Artemis Fowl, you think it's going to be like a cartoon.
Like, I know that's part of why I hadn't gotten into the books yet. Every time I look at it, like to me the word fowl is just so like funny to me. Like
FOWL. It's like you expect to see like some chicken with glasses as a detective.
Exactly. I use like DuckTales. Like remember the old DuckTale cartoons?
Yeah.
Like, you know the professor, Professor Von Drake. Or whatever, like you just like Artemis. I hear Artemis Fowl, and I just think of Professor Von Drake.
You would think so, yeah. So all I did, I saw the title, and I just assumed that, and then I googled it real quick, and I saw it was like a series of fantasy novels involving this guy Artemis Fowl II. So I guess there was an Artemis Fowl before him. that he's a criminal mastermind. It looks interesting from what I've read, but like I said, the name didn't like it didn't strike me to be like, oh, I need to see this movie. And then I read up a little bit about it. It seems very interesting, so I'm definitely gonna give it a try. I still haven't signed up for Disney Plus, so I've been like borrowing Disney Plus. But yeah, they're hunting these subscribers now about releasing all these movies now, huh? They're really, it's.
Listen, this is the best time to get us, man. We're home. Most of you home. I'm not home.
I was excited at first, and I was like, you know what? Let me just like see how it is. Let me see what other people say about it before I sign up. And now, like Onward, I heard was a killer, and I haven't been able to see it because I don't have like my sister has Disney Plus, so I have to go upstairs to go see it. Luckily, we live in the same place, so there's no cross exposure. But I gotta run upstairs to go like see it on her TV and stuff. But how we should probably talk about that off air about how the subscription service works. I got some particular questions about that stuff, so I'll hit you guys up later. Yeah.
No doubt, man. Gotta make a profile, man.
Yeah. I need to watch Onward for sure. I heard
who's on the Disney Plus, man?
Hey Disney, man, you kick me off that movie, man.
Oh man, listen, we're done with the movie news for now. We can't stop with Terrence Howard, brother.
Yeah, we just have like, you know what we should do? We should plan one episode where we just talk as Terrence Howard.
Come on, man. We never get through the thing, man.
Terrence Howard, oh, man.
Bang. M-A-N-G. Bang.
Yeah, man. So listen, man, we're gonna go to our next section of the podcast today, man. We're gonna go over some of the movies that we saw this week. I actually saw one before this week started. I saw Underwater with Kristen Stewart. I do my best to watch every movie that comes out for the year, so that when we do the realies, we kind of know all the movies that kind of came out, that big blockbuster movies for sure. And that way we have a fair kind of thing going for the realies when we do our, best of the years kind of stuff. And I watched Underwater, and surprisingly, I thought it was all right, man. I didn't think it was going to be that good when I saw the previews. I wasn't going to go see it in the theaters. It just came out on Netflix, I think on Redbox just now this week. So I picked it up, watched it. I just sat there and I was just like, all right, let's get this over with. But I actually enjoyed it, man. There was a couple of like, oh shit scenes, and there was a couple things I was like, ooh, that was cool, Mm-hmm. But it was interesting. It was like a horror / sci-fi thriller kind of thing. So it was pretty interesting. So if you guys are out there and you have access to a Redbox and some wipes, antibacterial wipes, the Redbox screen, yeah, man.
Use Q-tips. Apparently that's the trick. Use Q-tips and push the buttons and all that stuff. When you go to the ATMs and do whatever, Q-tips, guys.
There you go, man. Al, man, how about yourself, brother? You saw any movies this week?
Being that I was back to work, I didn't have the time that I had the couple weeks before. But ironically, we also got to catch Underwater. My wife was looking through the Redbox selection, and she had me pick it up. And same thing. It wasn't a movie I was crazy about. It wasn't a movie I was like looking forward to seeing. Right. But it kind of surprised me the same. Like it was I was expecting it to be like a ripoff of Alien. Is kind of what I was expecting to see. But they didn't do that. I mean, there were some elements from it, but it stood its own. And surprisingly, there weren't any scenes where I'm like, okay, that's the character. They made the character stupid in order for it to make sense. Right. But everything flowed. Yeah, I never felt like, all right, why are they doing that? Like,
and that movie went from the beginning. It was like 2 minutes in. It was like, let's go.
Yeah. She wakes up, brushes her teeth, and next thing you know, running for their lives for the rest of it.
So what did you guys think of Kristen Stewart's acting in the movie?
Not for nothing, she held her own, man. It's pretty much on her the whole movie. I mean, there's a somewhat of a crew that she deals with, so everybody gets their part. T.J. Miller's one of the actors in the movie. He gets a little role there and there. And honestly, also if you guys watch Daredevil, it was Iron Fist. I forgot her name in the Iron Fist show, but I think it's like Jessica Henwick or something like that. She's in the movie too. She plays a pretty good character also. But as far as Kristen Stewart by herself, man, she did good, man. She held her own, man. She did really good. She did her thing, man. So. Yeah.
Especially after watching her in Charlie's Angels, I was definitely impressed in this one.
Was she not good in Charlie's Angels?
the whole movie Charlie's Angels was not good. So
Oh no.
nobody saved that one.
Wow.
Oh boy.
But yeah, but she did a good job in this one.
Awesome, man. And Saj,
Okay.
man, how about yourself, man? You got a chance to watch anything this week? I know it's been a crazy week for you.
It has been a little bit of a crazy week. Thank you guys for the support. But
Always.
I did get to watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh,
Uh,
and that's a classic, man.
yes, yes. So, because one of the things I wanted to do is just as we're hard up for movies, and the limiting factor for all of us is time, right? So usually we
Right.
spend our time watching the new stuff. So now that we have a little bit more time and no movies coming out really, just decided to really go back and start looking at some classic movies I've been wanting to do for a while, watch them as an adult. Um, and so I started with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I was actually talking to some friends last night over Zoom. Reality was there as well.
Yeah.
And we started talking about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly because everyone was talking about, movies and stuff. Everyone knows that we do the podcast and stuff like that. So they're always asking for
Uh-huh.
recommendations and everything and what we
That's
think about
awesome,
it.
man.
So we started
Yeah.
so we started talking about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And everyone had some very interesting takes on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I found the most interesting take on it was from my friend Nick. Our friend Nick, because you guys,
Yeah, we all know.
yeah. He's also one of our newest fans as well. Shout out to Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout
Um,
out Boston.
he said he I promised him that I'd make mention of the fact that his take on it was that it's probably the best anti-war movie that he's ever seen or that's
Oh
ever
wow.
that's ever been made. I'm like, how so? You know. And then, because I hadn't seen the movie in a very long time. I think I was a teenager when I saw it last, so maybe
Mhm.
like 20 years plus. Um, and it didn't really it didn't really hit me that it happened during the Civil War, and the background for the movie, it was set against the Civil War, like North and South are fighting each other and everything, and every military character, bad guys, good guys, North, South, every one of them is injured in some way, like missing an eye, missing an arm, their leg is messed up. It's like, and you go back and watch this movie and you consider the time period for when it was just carnage,
Right.
just straight carnage. And when I was looking at it, and then I realized like, oh wow, this really is like a what's the word for it? A commentary on war. And then the main character played by Clint Eastwood. There's three main characters. There's Blondie, well, or he's the man with no name. Like you never really get his name. You don't get his name in the movie.
Right.
Then there's Tuco, and then there's Angel Eyes as well. So they're the three main characters, and the premise is that, spoiler alert, they're searching for this $200,000 worth of gold that's supposedly buried somewhere and no one knows where it is, and then they finally all figure it out. So they're all chasing it, and they align with each other at one point, then they're trying to kill each other, and then it ends in a Mexican standoff. But they focused in on Clint Eastwood's character Blondie a lot, and you at the beginning of the movie you kind of get like he's kind of cold-hearted. He's not really like moved by anything that's going on around him, but
Right.
the anti-war aspect of the message of the movie really comes through with him towards the end, when you see he starts to soften up. Um, there's a really good scene where he comes upon a dying soldier, and he takes his cloak off and puts it over him while the soldier's dying and whatnot, and like he takes his cigar and gives him a smoke, a few
Right.
pulls off his cigar and whatnot, while and then the guy passes away. So like just that act of compassion, like he knows this guy is dying and he's just out
Right.
there hunting for treasure, right? He could have easily just passed the guy and whatnot and whatever, but he sat there with him for a few minutes, and then he was about to pick up his coat off of him,
Right.
and
Right.
then he puts it back down. He leaves it on the soldier that just died. He has no
That's great.
use for it at this point. He's
Right.
dead, So he picks up the poncho that's next to him instead, and carries on his way. And you just kind of see that as much as he wasn't an emotional character or anything like that, and he was just um, out there looking, being a mercenary, hunting for treasure, hunting for gold, trying to make a buck here and there.
I hear you, man.
That the carnage moved him. Even the scene where they blow up the bridge, he does that for the captain of the northern soldiers that they run into, and it's like the captain's like wish to blow up the bridge because that's what that's what they're fighting over at that point. There's southern soldiers on one side, northern soldiers on one side. They're both trying to take these bridges, and he's like, thousands and thousands of people are dying over this bridge, and he's like, I just want to blow up the damn bridge and I'll save thousands of people's lives. That's the captain. He's like, but I don't have the guts to do it because then I'll get court-martialed or something like that. And it really that scene really like put it in perspective because the captain's like he just drinks all the time and he's always drunk, and he says, we kill them, they kill us, and we'll turn to dust, and that bridge will still be there. And it was deep. It was really deep. So, and there's moments like that through the movie, but those were really like stuck out to me. And then the other scene, I think the greatest scene in the movie was like Tuco's in a bathtub with like bubbles and stuff like that. Like he's taking a bath. Some dude comes in to try to kill him. And the dude's talking about, and he's like missing an arm. He's like, I had 8 months to learn how to shoot with my left hand. And as soon as right after he says shoot, Tuco just rails off like 4 or 5 shots. He's like, when it's time to shoot, don't talk. And it was just hilarious. And then he goes back to taking a bath. You know what I mean? Like he's just so matter of fact about it. But it was it was a long movie, and it was really cool to see because the style of movie making was so different. And see how things have changed and how action scenes have changed and what constitutes like drama has changed because there's so many more scenes where there's like just people looking at each other to build the tension in the scene before there's any dialogue. So it's just a really, really different style of movie making.
Gotcha, man.
That was very popular then. So it was really cool. But it was long. It was like 3 hours long.
I hear you, brother. Now, how'd you find like his acting in the movie, man? Because he's a well-known Clint Eastwood is a legend, man. Did you find him like he stood out? Anything special about his acting?
I felt like, sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Just the way he was able to hold his face straight all the time, was really good. And then the actor that played Tuco, I liked his acting the best. I think he did a phenomenal job because he was brilliant. And he made the character brilliant, especially for a time period where the person of color or the character of color is sometimes always seen as like the comic relief or the foil, as it were. He was brilliant and very much the equal of the other 2 main characters as well, and I think that has to do a lot with the acting.
Gotcha. Now I know one of the reasons you saw this movie, besides it being a well-known great movie, is you have a little poster that's on the side that we see every Sunday when we used to go over to do the podcast. Yes. That poster was like a top 100 movies that you should see.
Yeah.
Right. And so in your aspects, since you've seen so many movies in your life, is that movie anywhere in the top 100 for you, or top 50, top 20? Where's it landed for you?
I don't know where exactly it is, but it's definitely in the top 100 of movies. There. Yeah, it should be up there with movies that you see. Now looking back on it, for the message of the anti-war sentiment of it, that now it's funny now more so than ever. That's a Civil War era flick, right. And here we are in 2020, and I think the message is still relevant. The cinematography and the style of storytelling may not necessarily be in line with what today, but the message is still there, and it's still working. And then of course the soundtrack was incredible as well.
Yeah, that soundtrack was legendary.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. And Reed, man, how about you, man? You ended up catching any movies this week? You've been busy yourself, man, with everything?
Yeah, been busy. I mean, I'm still working from home, and 6-month-old is tough. But funny enough, Nicole was watching something, and I ended up just like catching it in like a few, like 10, 15 minutes in. A movie called Molly's Game. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Yes.
So it's based on a true story. Yeah, Jessica Chastain. It's based on a true story of this woman, Molly Bloom, who ran an illegal gambling, like a poker game, and she was making millions of dollars hosting these games for very, very powerful people, mostly men, people in government, and people in the entertainment industry, and people in the finance industry.
Right.
And she was getting like hounded by the FBI for running this illegal gambling game. But really, what they wanted from her is information on all the powerful people who are in the room, mobsters or whatever else, and just trying to get information out of them. And she honestly didn't have it, and she stuck to her guns. And she was just like, it was a really, really good movie. I'll say a really good movie, not a maybe. It was a good movie, definitely. If it comes on, anyone who hasn't watched it, pick it. Definitely watch it. Acting was pretty good. Idris Elba was in it. Idris Elba's character was awesome. Jessica Chastain's character was good. I think her acting was a little monotone. It's like a little one note, like throughout a lot of it. Like you really didn't get a lot of feeling from her, even though she was the one who was dealing with it, was basically the focus of the movie.
Right.
Elba's character definitely had a lot more depth, I thought, and a lot more different expression of emotions. Him defending her relationship with his daughter.
Right.
You just saw like a lot of growth in his character from the beginning of the movie to the end. Not so much with her, but it was a good movie.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I saw that movie, I was surprised by it. I thought it was really, really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching that movie, man. It was really cool. And I was, after the end of it, I Googled who really were those characters supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I found out a couple of them, man. Yeah.
Really?
What's Serrera's name is? He was playing the douchebag?
Yeah.
You know who he's playing, Reed?
Michael Cera? Who?
Yeah, Michael Cera. You know who he's supposed to be?
Who?
Tobey Maguire, bro.
Really?
Spider-Man is a dick.
I
wouldn't be surprised by that. Like,
in the movie, played himself, right? Like, because he was like, you know who I am, and then I think he played himself in the movie.
Yeah.
I would be more upset if like Jake Gyllenhaal was a douchebag, because he just has he looks like a nice guy, so you don't want him to be a douchebag. But Tobey Maguire, he could be, so you're not as upset with it. That's the
Does it hurt your feelings?
No, doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
All right, man. So listen, I'm gonna put you guys on to, the fans that are listening, man. I'm gonna put you guys on to something, man. So last week, Sanj made a request that we all listen to, or all watch The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and we were all supposed to try to watch The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. But what ended up happening was I waited till the last minute. I waited till Saturday night to watch this movie because it's on Netflix. So if anybody wants to see it, like Sanj recommends it. Sanj says it's top 100 for sure. So
y'all ain't got no go. So don't talk to me about 3 hours. I'm talking to fans, not y'all. I know y'all. You got 3 hours.
So listen, I went last night to go check it out at 11 o'clock, and I was like, I'd be finished by like 3 almost. No way. So I was like, we didn't get a chance to watch it. So, but the whole thing of this week was supposed to be The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and I came up with a challenge for all of us just to kind of add some stuff to the podcast and also have some fun. So we're going to do our own The Good, the Bad, the Ugly challenge, where I'm going to give you 3 movies, 3 artists, 3 different things, and you're going to have to choose which one's the good, which one's the bad, and which one's the ugly. Not all of them are going to be easy.
Ooh, I like this.
So
this is why you're the ideas guy.
Yeah, man. I try to come up with little things here and there. So I'm gonna start with Al first, man. I know Al's favorite is Star Wars, one of his favorites. Al, give me the good, the bad, the ugly for the original Star Wars, the Empire Strikes Back, and the Return of the Jedi. Which one's the good?
Oh, wow.
Which one's the bad? Which one's the ugly, my brother?
Oh, man. Of the original trilogy.
Jesus, coming out the gate with haymakers. Jeez.
Well, the good have to be, for me, would be Empire Strikes Back. Because of the 3, that's the one that I've always felt was the best of the 3.
Uh-huh.
The bad would have to then be A New Hope.
A New Hope, okay.
Yeah, because of the 3, Return of the Jedi, to me, was the worst. And you're not talking about, by far. To me, they were all 3 were great movies. But
right.
Then unfortunately, I'd have to say Return of the Jedi for ugly.
You don't like those Ewoks, huh?
uh, yeah, no, just off those three. I mean, if you had put the prequels or some of the prequels in there, I'd have definitely given one, at least one of those to ugly. But of the original trilogy, that's the only one I can think of, given those choices. Yeah.
You got it,
that
man.
was a tough one, man. That was messed up. That was
Last Jedi was the bad and the ugly.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Well, let's go to Sanj and see how easy his is. Sanj, the good, the bad, the ugly. Captain Kirk, Captain Sisko, or Captain Picard?
This is surprisingly easy. So the good is
Hard.
no, the good is Picard.
Yeah.
The bad is Sisko, and the ugly is Kirk.
All right. Any reason for? Listen, this is the first time I ever heard of Captain Sisko, so
Right.
Forgive me, Deep Space Nine lovers.
And
I'm
why
actually
is
watching
Sisko
Deep
bad?
Space Nine right now. I'm actually rewatching Deep Space Nine. Right now.
I heard he's one of the favorites, man.
He is one of the favorites, and he is deservedly the favorites. I give him the bad, not because he's bad, but he's bad because he's the badass of that group. Like, Picard is like high and mighty, holier than thou. Like, he is good incarnate. Like, he will always do the right thing. He will never do the wrong thing to achieve the right result. Cisco is a badass. Cisco will be the one like, nah, fuck that, fire. I don't care. I don't care if we kill it innocent. Like, no, just fire. There was one episode where he was hunting down this rebel leader or something like that was actually a Starfleet officer and was working on the station, and he like completely flipped on everybody.
Yeah.
Cisco basically made a whole planet inhabitable to hunt this guy down. Like, he fired photon torpedoes and with some special like chemical, and he basically made a planet uninhabitable for for 50 years.
Jesus.
So the guy would get the message. He's like, and I'm going to continue to do this until you turn yourself in, because those were the planets of the group that guy was leading. He's like, set course for the next one. And the guy, like, yo, it was crazy. He's like so menacing. But he's
not the bad, he's the bad man.
He's the bad man. He's the bad man. And then the ugly Kirk, I've just fallen so out of love with Captain Kirk over
I got you.
more so because of William Shatner, but when you really look at it, that Kirk was not that great of a character. Like, Spock and McCoy were always saving his ass anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh man, and then Reed, man, for you, brother.
All right.
Good, the bad, the ugly. We got Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan.
Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. This is easy, man. So the good, not so easy. So if you're gonna go with the good, the bad, the ugly, you gotta go. The good is Goku, because Goku. No, you know what? I'm gonna switch that up. The good is Vegeta, because his intentions are known, and he does everything. He understands the consequences, and he acts understanding what the consequences are and what he's going to do. He's the most strategizing out of all of them, and probably is the most intelligent and capable out of all of them. Goku is an idiot. He is a moron, and for that he gets the bad. He thinks he's good, and he thinks he's hard, but what drives him is the need to fight and to get better, and he doesn't care what he risks. He thinks that he's capable of overcoming everything, and because of that, he puts everyone at risk.
And he gets beat up by his wife.
Yeah, but he does that continuously, and everything that ever happens, it's usually because of him just wanting to fight. It's like everything that people destroy, them having to push people back, and everything's like, yeah, he's an idiot. And the ugly is Gohan, and the reason the ugly is Gohan is because Gohan. Nah, he was my man. If you go into see the Cell Saga and see how Gohan kicked ass in the Cell Saga, and then he comes out and becomes Mystic, and then he fights Majin Buu, and you think like, oh no, he's gonna take over the role, and then he ends up being like a bitch at the end, like getting bitched out by like everyone, like getting smacked around left and right, getting tossed everyone. they talked about this character in the beginning of Z as having the highest potential and the most unknown power level. Like he was supposed to be like no one knows what Gohan is capable of, and it's like, oh no, he's capable of getting the shit kicked out of him regularly. Is what he's capable of.
So
At the end of the day, so he's ugly. To watch him fight is ugly.
Oh my god, man, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that one, man.
Yeah,
I made those things special for you three, man.
I appreciate that.
So what's your good, the bad, and the ugly there, Hav?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't make one for me, man. I love doing this shit to you guys. All right, so let's get into that.
I got a good, bad, and ugly for you.
Oh, go for it.
Ewing, Starks, and Oakley.
The good will always be Oak Tree. You ain't going down the lane without being touched. And when I mean touch, Oakley will always be the good. The bad, John Starks not stop shooting is the bad. The ugly.
Jesus, the finger roll.
Why you finger rolling? You are 7 foot.
Yes.
Why are you finger rolling? All right.
I got one. The good, the bad, the ugly. Captain America, Thor, the Hulk.
Oh, for me or for who's that for?
Everyone. This is MCU, right? This
Captain
is
America.
Yo, Sanj, take this one, Sanj.
MCU's
Take
our
this one.
bread and butter.
America, Thor, the Hulk.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Come on, there's only one good.
So the good, yeah, Captain America.
All right, well, let's switch it up then. Wait, that's a little bit too easy. How about Captain America, the Hulk, Iron Man?
Okay. The good, the bad, the ugly. Captain America is still the good because
Over Iron Man.
Over Iron Man. Because Captain America, like, he started off as the Boy Scout, and like I didn't really like his character because he's like that Boy Scout type character. But then like he really stuck to his guns about right and wrong, and like the way I would think about right and wrong when Civil War came, and he was just like, no, that's not freedom, you know. And then so that segues perfectly into Tony Stark being the bad, because even though he's a genius and he's bright and everything, there's certain things he's willing to do to achieve his goals that I don't necessarily agree with, because he thinks he's so much smarter than everybody else, when there's a lot of times where he's not. And that's why I think the Pepper Potts character really balanced him out a lot, because she was the only one that would really like put him in his place, be like, no, you don't know everything, you don't know always know what's right. And that leaves like Hulk as the ugly, because he's a big ugly green monster.
Oh man. All right, Al, man, I got your next one here, man.
Uh-oh.
This one's gonna be tough, Al.
Oh, okay.
You're good, the bad, and the ugly. Captain America, First Avenger, The Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
Oh wow. I'd go. The good would be the original Avengers, the first Captain America movie, because basically that's what he is in that movie. It's all about him, you know, aspiring to become Captain America, then becoming Captain America, and showing everybody what those ideals are.
What's you choosing for the bad on this?
The bad, I would say, is Winter Soldier.
Wow.
And then the ugly would be Civil War, because that was just everybody fighting each other, supposed friends having a go at each other. And I mean, you know, they was pulling punches and everything, but they were still swinging.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that's never a pretty sight, watching friends fight over, you know. So I'd have to do that ranking there.
All right, man. No problem.
I got one for Ree so that he could get
Go
a
for
second go. Ree, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bugatti.
The three are ugly because no one wants to pay for the maintenance on those cars. Oh man, can you imagine the bill you're getting for all those things? That's ridiculous.
What's the oil changes a G on each one?
Easily, a lot of them are double digits just for maintenance because the engine's got to come out. Like, because they're all like mid-engine cars, so like almost everything you got to do in them is like engine out. It's ridiculous. But so let's go horsepower, right? Like Bugatti wins. Fastest car, most powerful car. So I give that the good.
All right, so maybe let me toss out Bugatti because it's in a thing by itself. So Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren.
And McLaren's also a supercar, man. So I'll go with McLaren all day.
All right, so
Okay.
all right,
So you want to do maybe like a Ferrari,
your son on
Ferrari,
here,
Lamborghini.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I totally know this was Ferrari,
Lamborghini,
Aston Martin.
Martin.
Ferrari, Lamborghini, Aston Martin. Then they're like on par. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do the good Ferrari, just because Ferrari probably has the most famed history, the most winningest, I think, racing history. The bad goes to Aston Martin because when you look at those cars, man, they don't steal any styling cues from any other cars. They're very unique. In the English, you don't see a lot of English supercars like that. The English are known for their minis more than they're known for their Aston Martins. So yeah, and their Jaguars, which are trash. So I would say the bad goes to Aston Martin, but the ugly goes to Lamborghini because of what they did to Ferrari. So if anybody knows the history of Ferrari and Lamborghini, Ferrari was a motor maker, a race car maker, and then they licensed or went out to get Lamborghini to work for transmissions. He was making tractors and farm work vehicles, so he was really good at making beefy transmissions. They had a disagreement about how they were working on their cars, and Ferrari made a comment to Lamborghini saying, "What do you know? All you are is a tractor maker." And then he went out to make a race car to compete with the Ferrari. That's ugly. That got ugly real quick, and the Lamborghini was kicking ass for a while there. So, and Lamborghini gets ugly. Ferrari gets the good, Lamborghini gets the ugly, and Aston Martin gets the bad. Bad man.
All right. Cool, man. All right, Saj, man, this is yours over here, brother. You got Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay. The good is Batman Begins, right? Because just like to see Batman done so well, and Christian Bale coming through the way he did, and remember, I just remember when we first saw like the stills for the Tumblr, we were like, what the fuck is this? Like this is and then when we saw it, we're like, what the fuck is this? It's like a complete 180. So that Batman Begins gets the good.
Right.
Dark Knight gets the bad, because it was just like badass. The Joker, Heath Ledger. I don't want to kill you. You're too much fun. And then,
crazy, man.
And then, of course, the ugly has to be The Dark Knight Rises, because of all good things have to come to an end, and that's why they're ugly.
And he got old on that movie. That was ugly. Watching that old man take that ass whooping was
that was ugly. When Bane broke his back, that was ugly.
That was ugly.
But what was not the fact that he got to get a little piece of Catwoman at the end. Although it was implied.
Yeah.
All right, man. Reed, you're three, man. You got. Let's see here. We'll make something a little bit hard here. Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, or Toy Story 3?
I mean, they're all good. You can you?
Nah.
It's filthy. Man, Toy Story 1, good. The making of the best friends, right? Like it's like when Harry met Sally, or Sleepless in Seattle, or
it's like one of those things like
when Buzz meets
Woody. Yeah, when Buzz meets
Woody, man. Like, come on, that's good. The bad Toy Story 2 is that with the torturing kid.
Yeah,
torturing kid was one. Nah, torturing kid was one.
It was one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They have to save him from the torturing. Shit, I don't even remember these. They like so far apart now in my head.
Yeah. 2 was the chicken toy store.
Chicken toy store.
Where I think the guy stole Woody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's all right. They stole Woody. That's bad. And so I was gonna make the ugly was the kid that's torturing the toys, but that's also one. So I guess one gets good and one gets ugly because he's the menacing kid torturing and breaking apart the toys. He don't care about playing with the toys. He just wants to melt everything, which is kind of effed up. So I'll give the good and ugly to one and the bad to two.
Oh man. All right, cool, man. Al, Matrix Revolutions, Matrix Reloaded.
Well, one definitely gets good.
Yeah, which one gets ugly is a fight.
Geez. Yeah, two definitely gets ugly. As great as it also was ugly visually. The fight with all the 101 Smiths.
It's like Blade 3. When the fight in Blade 3, if anybody remembers that, it's like cartoons.
Yeah, so I guess Reloaded would definitely have to be the bad.
Oh,
no,
wow.
Revolutions.
Revolutions.
Yeah.
All right. Sanj. Jurassic Park 1, Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park 3.
Okay, so Jurassic Park Part 1, definitely the good. Because I mean, when you saw the dinosaurs show up, they look so real, and it was just incredible the way it was shot, and Spielberg did such a good job with Jurassic Park Part 1. Yeah, bad and ugly. I guess Part 3 would be the bad. Because that's when they came back to the
they came back to the island, man.
The island where they like after like 2 goes at this, like, y'all still don't realize that this is not a good idea.
Nature always finds a way.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum was like the only saving grace there, like, you know what I mean, like, and then the ugly was Part 2 because they did that shit again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, they still did that shit again.
No doubt, man. All right, man. Reed is the last one here, man.
All right.
We got Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, man.
We have Temple of Doom, and we have The Last Crusade. Part 4 doesn't exist, people.
Kalimar.
Kalimar is good, right? Kalimar. The Kalimar short round. Short round is short round is the ugly. It's the ugly because of racism. And so Raiders, Temple of Doom. The Temple of Doom is Kalimar, right? That's the guy with the heart.
Yeah. No, that's that is Temple of Doom. Yeah.
Temple of Doom. Raiders of the Last Ark. That's short round. And what was the last one?
Last Crusade, man.
Last Crusade. So short round is ugly. Kalimar is bad. So Last Crusade gets good as a default.
Yeah, man. Gotta be good, man. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? We'll do one more round, one last round. This one we're gonna do one for Brandon, who would have been here. So we'll give this to Sanj here. Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3. I just want to hear him say it.
The Mandarin. Come on, it's because of the Mandarin.
Iron Man 1, because that was actually good. Iron Man 2 was bad. Just not bad, man. It was bad. And then Iron Man 3 was ugly.
Just ugly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Al, man, your last one, man. Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2, Die Hard 3.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
I don't know. Die Hard 1 definitely good. The good.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2 would be the ugly. Because of the 3, that was the one I liked the least.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just don't want to say the bad for 3, because 3 was to me was on par with the first one.
Yeah, 3 was awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I almost want to say both 1 and 3 are the good, and then 2 is the bad and the ugly.
No doubt, man. And read your last one. Go for it.
Sorry, I got one for you, Hav.
We'll go for it.
All right, so the characters now, not specific movies, but the characters.
All right.
Rocky,
Oof.
Apollo Creed, Ivan Drago.
Oh God. Jesus. The good is gonna be Rocky. Gotta be Rocky. The bad, but for bad man, it's gotta be Apollo Creed, especially his son. Oof. Oh, Michael B. Jordan, kid. Right here for Michael B. And ugly man Drago, man.
Bay? He's your bae?
Oh, dude, he could be. Drago's the ugly, but not because of what happened in Rocky 3 or 4, was it? Rocky 3 was Russian, right? Rocky 4. Yeah. Not because of that, man. The ugly is what happened to Drago after Rocky 4, what we didn't see.
Apollo Creed, yeah.
Oh, dude, he broke my heart, man.
It was
wife left the shame of the country. Oh, Jesus.
I lose wife. I lose career. I lose everything.
I lose the country.
I have nothing.
Yeah, I would have went the good Apollo Creed, the ugly Rocky's face after every fight.
It could be Rocky's face before every fight.
And then the Russian, he's a bad man.
That's how I would have ranked it too. Like Drago, that was a bad man right there.
That was a bad man.
Oh man. All right, man. So we're gonna get out on the last one here, man. Right, so your 3, man: Good, Bad, the Ugly, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King.
Oh man, Fellowship of the Ring. It's hard not to give the original the good, just because it's how you are introduced to the whole world, right?
Right.
So I'll do that. The good, the Fellowship of the Ring. The Two Towers is the ugly. And what was the last one?
Last one was
the Return of the King.
The Return of the King. That's a bad. I mean, it was the end of the series, so like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I like 1 and 2 is what I'm gonna stick with that. No more explaining. The good.
There it is.
There we go.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna end the podcast on that one right there, man. I thank you, Reality, for showing up for us tonight, man.
Yeah, I got you,
B, man. Good luck on that interview, B. I know you're out there listening, so good luck today. I hope you got the job, brother. If you guys want to find us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as The Real Fan Review, REEL, play on words there. You guys could email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. You can go to our website, therealfanreview.com. This is a weekly podcast that we put out there for everybody to just hear us, how we normally talk with each other, just joke around and talk about movies. So, guys, we thank you for listening. We apologize for the sound quality. Again, we're doing this on Skype until we can get together again. Guys, be safe, be healthy, stay safe, stay healthy out there. There's a lot of stuff going on with this virus, and a lot of things are being rushed out there. So take your time, wear your mask, be careful, be safe. So we just want to wish you all the best. And we thank you for always listening and watching us on YouTube there. And again, subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on any of your favorite podcast place. And we're signing off from Long Island, New York. We got myself, Hav. We got my boy Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
We got my boy Sanj.
Be safe, everyone.
And we got my cuz Ree, man.
Stay home, stay safe.
We'll catch you on the next one. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.